Hey everyone, my name is Randy Lee and I'm an environmental engineer. I was born and raised in Los Angeles County, and aside from moving to some different cities to attend during my college and graduate school, I've lived in Southern California my entire life. And what happened as a result of this fire was one of the worst disasters I've ever seen in my entire living here. Every year we get something different. It could be a big earthquake, or a drought, or a wildfire during the summer, but this one is just so bad to start off with already for the start of the new year. Today we're going to talk about the aftermath of the Pacific Palisades fire that just happened, that's ravaging Los Angeles and is still currently ongoing at the time of this recording. And I want to explain, is the consequence of the Pacific Palisades fire a good thing, and what happens afterwards? So this is geared towards my fellow Los Angeles audience out there. So first off, let's start off with the silent killer in this room. The air you're breathing right now could slowly be poisoning you. Even though some of the flames are out, the atmosphere is saturated with this toxic cocktail of particulate matter, volatile organic compounds, and carcinogenic gases. Imagine waking up every morning, your lungs are burning, your eyes are watering, and you're just struggling to breathe. That's the reality for millions of Americans right now. The particulate matter from the fire is just so fine that it can penetrate deep into your lungs and even enter your bloodstream. And we're talking about particles that can cause irreversible damage to your respiratory system and cardiovascular system. It's not just humans that are at risk, because wildlife will be suffering too. The birds are going to get affected too, and they may start just falling off from the sky. And any outdoor pets, they're slowly going to suffer without even knowing what's killing them. Now let's talk about the water. Now you might be thinking, you're safe if you avoid the visibly polluted streams, but that's where you're wrong. The fire will release a bunch of chemicals into our water supply. So currently there are 5,000 structures that are burned down. Each one of them may contain materials such as asbestos, or lead, mercury, and countless other synthetic compounds. So when it all rains, all those toxins are going to be washed into our water stream and the ocean. And what's scarier is that our current water treatment systems, they're not equipped to handle all of this level of contamination all at once. So we've already detected high amounts of benzene, which is a known carcinogen, in the tap water. Refining chemicals we can't even identify yet, let alone understand their long-term effects on the human health and the environment. So every time you turn on your tap water, you could be exposing yourself to a bunch of carcinogens and endocrine disruptors. Now let's talk about the ground beneath your feet. Without vegetation to hold the soil in place, we're facing the real possibility of massive mudslides that could literally bury an entire neighborhood when it rains. So just imagine you're sleeping in your bed, falling asleep to that peaceful sound of the rain, when suddenly you're awakened by some roar. But before you can react, a wall of mud and debris just hits your home and you're swept away. This could be a very real threat to thousands of residents in those affected areas living near those hillsides. And also, the mudslides aren't just going to affect us, they're going to affect the environment as well. They're going to trigger some environmental domino effect that could literally devastate the entire region. So as the mud flows, it will carry with it all that toxic debris from that fire and spread contamination that was initially not there. So we could be looking at poisoning, acres of lands down the road, making them uninhabitable and unusable for agriculture and living purposes in the future. So when it comes to wildlife, that fire has already destroyed countless habitats and pushed species on the brink of extinction. We're displacing them and we're killing them at the same time. These mudslides can also deliver that final blow that could literally wipe out some entire species by destroying their home or their food source. And lastly, probably the worst threat that we can't see, which is the long-term impact on the climate. So the Pacific Palisades fire released an enormous amount of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, which contributes to the climate change that we're making these fires more severe in the first place. So we're basically trapped in a vicious cycle with each fire making the next one more likely and more destructive. The debris left behind that fire is, another climate bomb, basically just waiting to explode. As it decomposes, it's going to release more greenhouse gases, which is going to further accelerate climate change and just, start this whole cycle all over again. And we're not just talking about a local problem anymore, contained in Los Angeles. We're going to see some effect globally because of this. So what does all this mean for the future of Los Angeles? If you don't take drastic action now, we're going to be looking at a city on the brink of collapse. Imagine a Los Angeles where just the air is too toxic to breathe, the water is too contaminated to drink, you have vast areas that are uninhabitable due to pollution and have constant threats of mudslides for when it rains. This isn't science fiction anymore, it's already happening. It's the very real future that we are facing right now if we don't do anything about it. This Pacific Palisades fire isn't just a disaster, it's a wake-up call. It's a glimpse into the future that awaits us if we continue down this path. And I'm sure you've seen the picture somewhere on like Twitter and Instagram already of what the fire looks like when it first started. Imagine that for the future. Imagine that tomorrow happening. We need innovative solutions, and we need them right now. We need to develop new technologies to clean up the air and the water, to stabilize our hillsides, to rebuild our cities in harmony with nature. We need to rethink our entire approach to urban planning and disaster response. You can see how much it failed already. And what happened to Los Angeles is unfortunate because I'm living here right now, but it's just a sneak preview of what can happen to everywhere else in the world with similar climates to that of Los Angeles already. It just makes me wonder, how long will it take for us to learn from these events? How much more lives and resources do we need to sacrifice before we actually do something about it and take it seriously? The Pacific Palisades fire is just the beginning. If you don't act now, it could be the beginning of the end. Really, the fate and trajectory of this planet rests in how we handle this event. It rests on the people's choices to do the right thing and the smart thing, which includes being conscious of their actions. I feel like I might just be rambling, but I have such hard emotions living here in Los Angeles, California, because I'm affected by this right now. Thankfully, I still have my house that is not burned down because I live a bit further away from that, but I just feel so bad for the people affected by that when they had no control over it. It just happened way too quick, way too fast. In about just 1 week, I'm hearing all this bad news about my friends and family being displaced and just losing everything all at once, again, in just 1 week. Thanks for watching. That's all I have for this video. I don't really have a conclusion to this besides we have to act on this right now. See you in the next one. Goodbye.